Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ceres podcast. I'm your host, Stelios. At Ceres, we believe better businesses build a better industry, and every episode brings you real stories, honest conversations, smart strategies to help your business grow, not just to survive, but thrive. Today's episode is a lively three-way chat, and I'm joined by regular guest Charlie Collins from Friedale's in Leicester and returning guest Anthony Akathiotis from Merchants Fish Bar in Bewdley. It's an East Midlands meets West Midlands conversation, and in this episode we cover a lot of ground. We dig into everything from fish and potato prices, staffing and wages, to the cost of living crisis, social media wins and woes, general trading and what the future might look like. It isn't linear, we don't do it segment by segment, it just sort of goes where it goes. This episode is powered by the Ceres Deep Fryer Cleaner. Say goodbye to baked on carbon and grease. This non-caustic formula blitzes grime from your frying range and your standalone fryers, and it extends oil life, improves heat recovery, saves time, and just massively improves all of your operations. Do you want fryers that shine? Because that's what we're about. Order now at www.ceres.shop. And if you want to sharpen your margins, not just your knives, check out our free business suite of calculators. From gross profit to potato yields, energy ratios to labour costs. These tools give you clarity to make faster and better informed decisions. Plus, you'll also find weekly articles on the Ceres blog written to help you stay profitable and ahead of the curve. Alright, now let's get into today's episode with Charlie and Anthony. Charlie, Anthony, welcome back.
Hey, mate.
Hi, Stel.
Charlie's a regular. Anthony, second time back. Welcome to you both.
Yeah, surprised you're not fed up with me yet. This is a fair few I've done now. So
No, I was saying to Anthony the other day on the phone, like what I aim for always, and I've told you this anyway, I just want normal conversation. I don't want anything too contrived, and I think you get that, Anthony gets that. And lots of people are starting to get that now, that just come on, have a chat. Don't always have to be right. It's just an exploration of ideas, isn't it? So, and there's also a few things bubbling away in the background. I wouldn't say there's a lot going on in the industry at the moment, but there is a few little things that are bubbling away. So I thought, you know what? Let's just get into it and see what happens. I do like having different people on a podcast, and what we've got here is a mix between sort of the East Midlands being Leicester and the West Midlands, Bewdley, from that neck of the woods. So there's a clash of accents as well, isn't there?
yeah, it's not going to be an aesthetically sounding one, this.
Big juicy topic first. Let's just start right at the beginning. Are we seeing frozen at sea fish prices settle out a bit? What are your thoughts on this, guys? What are you both hearing from your fish merchants? You know, they've been high for a while. I don't think, if I'm right, I don't think they went as high as they did last time, a couple of years ago. I might be wrong. You guys would know better than me. But give us your thoughts on it. Anthony, if we start with you on this one.
Well, they're going up. That's it. They've gone up and up. So especially now with not the glacialis, what you put on about the embargo and that the Russian vessels.
Yeah.
So we use a lot of fish from them. And we've got some in, actually. I don't know how we've got it. I don't know where it's come from. But again, the price have gone up. Even if it's £15, £20 a box, they've still gone up.
What fish is this? What?
That's the glacialis.
What size?
6 to 8.
Okay,
6 to 8. Yeah, it's a nice fish. It works well for us. But again, we've seen they've gone up again. So and now obviously short of stock as well. But what we've found is that the equivalent has gone up as well. So, you know, £40 Rami is what, $3.15 for a £40 box of 6 to 8s. So it's like, where'd you go with it all? 32 plus.
Do you think that's because it's such a tight grade?
What size is the Rami? Sorry, what size is the Rami? Is that 2x10s or is it 3x10s?
2x, no, it's 2x9s, isn't it? Yeah,
2x9s for the Rami, is it?
Yeah, as a £40, isn't it? So that's what.
So, yeah.
We're being quoted now. What, $3.15 between $3.10 and $3.15. So it's £5 less of fish for a lot more. So it's a bit worrying that size of it, that as well, especially with the 32, obviously 16, 32, 32 plus what you can get hold of. I did my books last night, I got back in, and we've increased from when I went away of what they're doing. But I can't see. I don't know. I don't think they're coming. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to. I think well, they might capitalise on what they got now because we've got to have it, haven't we?
So you think in your, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you
No,
probably think the vessel owners are clinging on to the high ground then?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, why wouldn't they? Especially everything's going up, isn't it? I mean, everything's going up. Fuel's going up. I suppose with the embargoes now, it's going to be less coming in, and now with the quotas, they've changed. They're trying to change the quotas, aren't they, as well?
So do you think that half the issue for you, let's say, if we look at your specific issue, is it the fact that you're stuck on those fillet sizes, very tight grade? I guess you're not really going to like a 32 plus or a 16.
Well, we use it. It's well, we use the 32 plus as well. So
still...
we use for our regulars. We've always used it, and it works really well. It does work well because obviously there's no cutting involved. It's bone, it's skin, it's there. It's a nice product as well, and it works well. It fries quick. It fries nice. It's easy to keep as well. But obviously, when you're cooking to order a lot as well, it's a nice fillet, and it's a good quality piece of fish. It's probably the best out there what we can find for the price we're getting. But like I say, when we do 32 plus, that's what we're cutting our lot minis off it as well. But when you've got a staff based team as well, you know what it's like as well. I mean, they can cut fish. I'd say they can cut fish, but there's always that. I mean, the margins are that tight. You can't just chance it. You've got to be on it, really. That's what I'm finding at the moment, and I think that's our biggest struggle. Especially, it's harder to get more out by just someone. I mean, you've got to be bang on with your sizes, your weights, bang on every time. And when you're relying on a staff base to do that, there can be lapse. It can be a bit lapse. Yeah. And every penny counts at the moment. It does.
Yeah, Charlie, how's fish looking on your end?
Different to what Anthony said. I'd say it's stabilised a little bit. It was going up and up and up and up, but now it seems to have come to a halt for the sort of last 5-6 weeks, and it seems to be steadying off. I mean, my fish supply, I've had a lot put away. You know, I put enough away in October to get me through to sort of March, and in March I put another chunk away to get me through to about now. And I, spoke to my supplier and said, do I need to put more away? And he's quite honest with me and said, no, I think we should have hit about the peak and it should start to stabilise. Maybe he's off, maybe not. I mean, I'm the same as well. I've struggled to get staff to cut it. I've been cutting most of it myself just to try and keep the cost down. We've actually been getting a bit of fresh in, which I haven't done that for a long, long time. It's been a few years since I've used fresh, but we've been getting some fresh haddocks in just because they do come in at the right size. There's no messing around, straight out the box, straight in a tray. It's nice and simple for the staff. When I was penny pinching a little bit, was getting 1632, cutting that down, got some 816s because we had a good deal on it. With a bit of luck, it's stabilised. I think fresh, particularly, has been a really good price recently. It's been
good quality.
Yeah, it was a bit rough a couple of months ago. Sorry, but it was spawning season. But now it's really come into its own again. Yeah, we're getting some really good pieces through. Yeah, I do think we're frozen at sea. I think we're over the worst of it with a bit of luck. Even tight grade like you're on, I'm hearing that it's tight. It's tight in supply, but everyone seems to have it. You ring up a supplier, they've got it.
No, that's right. Everyone seems to have it, except the glacialis now, which people are struggling to get. But again, like we obviously we're predominantly cod, and so where we are as well. But I've got like the tight grade haddock. I've got some really good tight grade 6 to 8 haddock in, which we bought a lot of. So that's there. But it obviously doesn't shift as well as our cod, which is hence like the mini haddock mills and stuff like that, which is why we're trying to push it. But we got a lot of that away. But so we put a lot away, but then that went, and it's like with you, what's going to happen? They're going to stabilise. I don't know.
I wonder sometimes. When I talk to chip shop owners, I wonder if I'm too optimistic. I wonder, because when I talk to Anthony and he's like saying it how that is, and I've spoke to you, Charlie, a lot. And I got told off for being a little bit optimistic as well, because I just think that the market will correct itself in time. But obviously, I'm not feeling that pain all the time. Whereas you guys are. I'm speaking to one. I won't say fish merchant is bigger than that. A major player in the fish world, and he says that some breathing space may come because the Americans have put quotas on a lot of foreign, fish, especially to them. And a lot of people in America, they're not really that loyal when it comes to species. They just want it to be white, and that's it. So they'll happily eat Alaskan cod, Alaskan pollock. They'll eat, bassa, pangasius, the catfish, tilapia. They'll eat it all. They're not bothered. Whereas in the UK, we are, fully embedded into this cod and haddock, especially for whitefish. So he said that it might just give us a little bit of breathing room. He doesn't expect that to move the dial too much, but it should be helpful. So again, but it can't come soon enough for some, can it, I guess?
Well, hopefully that'll help with cash flow at least. We might be able to not keep buying, a lot of fish at one time. If we can go back to buying it
normally,
weekly or fortnightly, then we'll at least have some cash freed up, which is a problem at the minute. I've got money tied up in stock, which isn't a great place to be. And if we have reached a peak, then customers have accepted the prices in a way now. We were getting a lot of grief, and to an extent we still get a lot of people moaning, but they come back next week, whereas before they'd moan and you wouldn't see them for a while, but now they seem to moan and come back. So
and still moan when they're back.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I think
they moan every week.
Moaning is
I'd rather have a moan every week and buy it.
Moaning is now part of the British culture, though, isn't it? Come on, let's be honest. I think that if you can't moan, what's the point? Have a little moan. But we still do it. We begrudge things we still do every day. But I think it'll be interesting. The one upside to this whole thing is, and I know people won't be clapping to this, but one upside is when at some point fish does become a bit more abundant. Let's say that's a year down the line, 2 years down the line, all going well. You're not going to end up dropping your prices. Your prices are set where they are. And if you do end up, I don't know, 40 quid cheaper a box, I'm just guessing 40, 50 quid cheaper, let's say, and there's availability and you've got the pick of the bunch, you are probably going to be laughing to some degree, but you'll be making up for what you didn't put up for, I'd imagine, as well.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Yeah. We're clawing back what we lost. Well, not what we lost, what we didn't have.
But I don't think we're alone in this. I've researched this extensively. Like, I think that where we're alone is that we're probably one of the only industries that have been out there screaming from the rooftops that we're more expensive than all the others. I think when you look at the likes of McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, I did all the research. McDonald's have gone up over 65% on like-for-like products from 5 years ago. I think KFC was in the 70s, 76%, for like-for-like products. So, they haven't gone out there screaming and saying, we're really sorry, the Big Mac is now more expensive. Like, they don't do none of that. Greg's, I think Greg's about 5-6 years ago, a sausage roll was like 89p. And now a sausage roll from Greg's, I think I saw yesterday when I went in, was 139 or something like that. Yeah, I know because they're small numbers, we don't overly think about it, but that's a significant increase. And again, they haven't been shouting from the rooftops, a sausage roll is more expensive, So, yeah, I think we probably have shot ourselves in the foot a little bit as an industry, because we went out.
Everybody picked up on it though. It wasn't just us saying it. Look at the food. If you go online and see the food reviews, people are saying, even the reviewers or obviously social media side now, people are saying like how expensive it is. So it is being picked up by everybody because they've been told, haven't they? Look at it was all over it was in newspapers, it was on the media. We had big players in our industry saying about it all. So people are going to pick up on it, and it's a good topic to talk about.
Yeah, I think the difference is when you talk about McDonald's and KFC and the big boys like that, is that they don't really give a monkeys if they get the odd 1-star review, 2-star review saying, oh, it's expensive, or the portion's gone down, or this, that, and the other. Whereas we're there every day, frying, working, listening to it. They say it to the staff are on the phone to you going, oh, we've had a few people moaning about this. It's very loud to us when people complain, whereas
you take it personally as well.
Yeah, the person at Greg's listening to someone, the price setter at Greg's isn't worried about a couple of people moaning about the price of a sausage roll.
When the sausage rolls went up, people did moan about it, didn't they?
Yeah,
people did actually point about it, and what you went about 12p, something stupid like that. People actually, it was people realised it and moaned about it, even online, even.
Do you think people, like, when it comes to the 12p on the sausage roll, do you think they genuinely outraged, or is it just, or is it just the fucking media making out they're outraged?
Of course it will.
Just trying to
Probably.
make a story out of nothing, aren't they?
Exactly, trying to make a story
I
out.
don't know though, because Greggs have lost footfall.
They have.
That has been all over the news that Greggs have lost footfall, and they had a bad quarter when it was hot, and
yeah,
so,
but
I don't know.
I can see why they lost footfall when it's hot. Like, I'm not being funny. Like, if it's like 32 degrees out there, and that's equivalent to what, let's say 42 degrees in Cyprus, let's say, I don't want to be eating baked pastry. Like, it's not what I fancy. Like, I'm going to be, like most of other people, going to go for a drink at the pub, eat a packet of crisps, chill out, and then it's going to get cooler, and then I'm going to go eat whatever else I'm going to eat, and it ain't going to be Greg's. And I think their business model isn't very well suited to British summers. I think their business model is possibly, I would say, a dreary day at best. It's, you're going to have a soup, you're going to have a sandwich, something quite filling, and it's things like that you don't want when
it's convenience, though, isn't it? It's convenience eating. It's workmen going on a lunch
Yeah.
break and grabbing something to eat to hand while they're. That's what I think it is, because they have
suppose
quite.
in some ways that's similar to a fish and chip shop. I mean, not for touristy shops or like yours, Anthony, which is a seaside away from the sea, but for inland shops like mine, a bit of sunshine, and we.
Oh no, I've got one. I've got one on the road. Been there, a bit of sunshine. You're right, absolutely. It kills it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, and I think but I don't think that's nothing new. I think that's always been the case, and but I do think, going back to your point though, Charlie, because I've written about this, and I'm trying to figure out, and we're going to probably touch on it at some point, but we're here now anyway. But I've been trying to figure out this cost of living crisis. It's spoken about a lot. It's bandied about a lot. It's often equated to 2008, but I don't think I'm seeing the same thing. Like, people are spending money, but it almost feels like they're spending it where they want to be. And I remember a conversation that me and you had a while ago, Charlie, and you said you felt like burgers weren't really selling, and you thought it was because that it was a byproduct of your menu anyway. You didn't really care about it, and you thought people were willing to pay a lot more for a proper burger from the likes of, I don't know, the local ones, the halal ones, the Five Guys of the world. And yet you felt like burgers in the chip shop were slipping a bit. And I did wonder, on the broader scale, is that actually what is happening now, where, people are like, you know what, I'd rather not spend £2.50 on mediocre food from Greggs that I could probably get from Aldi or Tesco or just make myself. I'd rather save that money, go out once or twice this week and enjoy it. And is it that's what's happening?
Question. I think my burger sales have dropped in Harzoen.
Yeah, well, I've just took mine off the menu now. I found bottlenecking everything.
Our spicy chicken fillet burgers, they sell all right, but the beef burgers now, do you know what? I can't remember last time I cooked one of them, actually.
Time to take them off the menu.
Has nobody asked for them?
Yeah, well, we're selling enough to keep them on the menu, but they were slowing us down, they're bottlenecking everything, and they were crap. They were just a burger, an average seeded bun with just whatever toppings I wanted, and they just weren't great. And right, whilst I've probably sold enough to keep them, is that, I'd rather people be buying the fish and chips, and since the burgers are gone, kebabs are up, fish is up. So, but coming back to the point, I think people are choosing Five Guys. I think it's sort of value perception, isn't it? People see Five Guys as a real treat, and whilst it's expensive, they feel like they're justifying the money. Now, do they look at fish and chips as a treat, or do they look at that as just a quick feed? And I think that's where it's changing at the moment. Is you've still got half the customers that look at it as a quick feed, but now we are seeing more of the customers that want sort of they don't want it to be more expensive, but they want a really good meal. So we're stuck in sort of a limbo at the moment, I think, as an industry, where it's slowly changing to where we're becoming sort of more of a niche product where people want a really good fish and chips, but we're fighting that big cheap feed thing at the same time. So as prices go up, I think that maybe we'll move more towards that niche and more towards the Five Guys style, as opposed to the Greggs, McDonald's, Wetherspoon style of that we've got.
The low.
So I wonder, have menus grown too much then? Like, because I think one of the reactions to fish prices going up is that everyone then sources different products to put on the menu, whether it's chicken or pork, whatever it is. It could be anything. And then you've gone from 60 menu variations to 120, and your staff are running around, and you've made more headache for yourself. And I do wonder, like, are we seeing the fact that these other places like Burger King, McDonald's, if I would just focus on burgers at the moment, Burger King, McDonald's, Five Guys, they've really focused on what they do. They've hyper focused on making great burgers, and they've driven value. Like, and even if it is more expensive than it was 7 years ago, it's actually great value for today. Or at least they're trying, and people seem to be going there. I wrote about it when McDonald's did the Build a Better Burger campaign, and they did like these numerous little changes to how they made a quarter pounder and a Big Mac, and where they used to make 12 patties at a time, they started making 8 patties at a time, so they'd be fresher all the time. They changed the bun so it stayed softer when it was warm. They added a bit more, I think a quarter of an ounce more sauce, and you think all these little changes. They called it the Build a Better Burger campaign, and it made it that it was a hotter burger, it was crispy, it was tastier, it was just, everything was better about it. And you think, I can't think of one chip shop that I've spoken to that has gone and looked at their menu and then trimmed it, like that, into pieces. We just look at our meal as fish and chips, and there's nothing to change. And I've been to shops that are failing, and and they'll say to me, "There's nothing I could do better," and I'm like, "Well, okay, well, let's look at this." And I think we have this. We protect ourselves by saying we're the best thing on the market. And a friend of mine who was in the trade, is not anymore. He left about 2 years ago. He said there is an arrogance in this industry. He goes, "We think we're better than all the other cuisines, yet we do nothing to prove it." And he was like arguing against, because he goes, one of the arguments you see all the time is, well, we're better than Chinese food, that's all sauce and it's all crap this and it's all crap that. Oh, we're better than Indian food, that's all this and it's all that. We're just protein and we're just this. And he said, there is this arrogance, but what have we done to prove it? What have we actually done to say,
Yeah, but we're stuck in our ways, though, aren't we? Well, a lot of people who have been in the industry a long time are stuck in their ways, and they are, especially the older lot. Of course they are. Would they know what to? I've trimmed down my menu. My menu's tiny compared to a lot of people's now. Really small. But it's,
I'm the same. And I think it's just sped up service. We are cooking fresher food now. I think the thing is with a lot of chip shops as well is they say they cook to order or they don't cook to order, and they don't. That seems to be the divide. Whereas I think a lot of shops would probably benefit from a middle ground as well. So it's fresh and quick, but no one seems to be doing that. It's either seems to be a stack it high or cook to order, but really somewhere in between would probably help the industry. And that's where McDonald's is. There's somewhere in between.
I think that depends on your shop, isn't it? Though as well.
Yeah.
Or because like for my shop in Bewdley, we cook to order in the winter, but now we slow it down completely, so we won't load it up, but we will have fish coming out because we know it's going to go. It is going to go. We never have anything sit in the cabinet for more than 2-3 minutes. But I think that's a happy medium. But it does change when it's seasonal as well. Hell's Owen shop, I've said cook to order. Some people don't like it though. Some people don't want to wait. I had it this morning. Some guy came in for a piece of fish, like a mini fish. He ended up walking out with 2 sausages. Got no fish cooked. So. But I'd rather not have that.
I guess it's finding that happy medium. Like,
that's exactly it.
A friend of mine, he just says, he goes, I won't cook to order everything, but I'll always have some things ready. And he'll have like the fish that always moving, like his regular haddock. He'll have a couple of those, battered sausages, things like that hold, but he won't have like premium product, like a large haddock sitting there, because he doesn't say, he sables like 10% of those. So 80% of his other product will go. So he'll have that. And I do think one of the things that, I think COVID was a chance for a great reset, and a lot of shops didn't take it. And I think, you're still seeing some shops out there that are open 11:30 in the morning all the way till 11:30 at night. And there's a lot of time in the day when you're not going to be busy. And I think, naturally, the people before us used to close at 2 till 4 or 2 till 4:30. And I think there's some sense there. I think, and when you've got gas and electric and staff wages, which are constantly going up, if you've got someone standing there for 2.5 hours and you barely take 60 quid, that's not a great use of your time either. And I think there's a lot we can learn from that. But I don't know. For me, I think that we've got to learn, and we don't see, like you, Anthony, you said it. A lot of people are stuck in their ways, and I think that is
They're
possibly,
scared of change, aren't they? People are scared of change,
yeah. But
and they are. Like when you say shop shut till 2 till 4, I've changed the hell's own shop, but I don't. On Monday and Tuesday, I don't open till 4 now, so I'm shutting the daytimes because we were finding out it was either some weeks it was good, then other weeks you're thinking what am I doing this for? So we just didn't. But I'm going to look at it again. So I think I might be shutting 2 till 4, but I look on a Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We close at 9 o'clock. We open at 12 and shut at 9. There's no, and I think it works well for us. Plus, customers, you get the few that do say you shut too early, but then again, like you're saying, you're keeping 4 staff there. Everything's on. You're going to go till 10 o'clock, and you're going to make 50, 60 quid to do what with?
And also, what are those late night customers buying? It's normally a bag of chips, maybe a pie.
Exactly.
It's not family orders. It's not, they're not
No.
spending 20, 30, 40 pounds. It's a handful of bits and bobs. I mean, we used to open 11:30 to 10:30. We've always closed 2 till 4. But at one of our shops now, we don't open any lunches apart from Friday, and then we just do 4:30 till 9. And the amount of my overheads have dropped. We're busy in those hours. It's a lot better. It's a lot better on the staff, and it's just little things like because the shifts are shorter, you don't have to give them breaks. So there's none of that, and it is a lot more efficient. And I think that's what a lot of shops need to look at the moment is just pure efficiency because we can all make efficiency.
They're scared to, aren't they? They're scared of change. That's the problem. Just in case it doesn't work, rather than trying to. That's what I found. Who I speak to, when I said I'm shutting, when I spoke to people that I was shutting on Monday and Tuesday days, I was like, "You're mad." I was like, oh. But it's them kind of people that won't change. They are open from 11:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, Monday to Saturday.
the thing is, though, they're afraid of change, but everything around them has changed. That's the crazy thing, is that we're not changing with the change. We're sort of just fixed in this mindset of, well, I can't do anything different. And I think, so 2 examples. I was at a shop early part of the year in the West Midlands, and a nice guy, lovely chap, moaning that the shop was on its arse and the shop was filthy. It was on its arse. He this is his words, my words, that it was filthy. I told him it wasn't like, it's not like this is a secret conversation. I won't tell you who it was. It doesn't matter. And the shop was very, very tired. He's saying that his frying range is this crap. It's broken. He can't afford to change it. And then you're looking around and you think, customer comes in, orders a regular chips and something else, and I'm watching, and he'd literally emptied the chip box. Like, it was a regular chips and a cone of chips, and he'd emptied the chip box. And I was thinking, wow. And I looked at him, I was like, is that your portion? And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, that is mental. Like it was immense at how big it was. Like, and then he goes, yeah, but if I didn't give them that, they'd never come back. And I'm like, but how do you know this? How do you stress test this? Like, it's a feeling, obviously. He doesn't know because he's never tried it. Yeah. But it's a feeling he's got, and he probably is valid to some degree. And he's like, well, I ain't got no money to invest. I can't do this. But then he's spending 40 grand to put a dessert business in the business. And you think, well, you can actually do all of these things. 40 grand, you can get plenty of ranges and a bit of a spruce up. Like, you get a used range and a spruce up for sure. Like, but, and so, yeah, I can see how some people are in a rut, but if you're in a rut, get out the trade, go do something else, because it must be sad working in a place where you're not in love with the place either, where you don't want to be doing it every day either. And I know I couldn't do that job every day if I wasn't happy. But another thing, talking on Mondays, a friend of mine recently took over a shop, and he closed Sunday, and he says, oh, what do you think I could improve on? I said, why don't you close Monday? You're running the shop on your own. At least you're guaranteed 2 days off a week. I said, give your customers plenty of notice and see what happens. So what does he do? Puts up in the on his social media, as of this date, we're closing Monday. We gave him loads of headroom, like 8 weeks notice. He said, and then up to the run up, he then gave out some vouchers, basically saying, when you come after that we close Tuesday to whatever, you can have a 10% off, 15% off. And he said, it's probably been half a year now since he's made the change, and his turnover hasn't budged. So he's closed a day and his turnover hasn't budged. And I'm convinced that whatever you sort of do, providing you communicate it as best as possible, rather than just pulling the plug on people, like, you can actually make changes. Big changes. That's closing a day. And to think that his business now closes 2 days a week. He gets 2 days off, and his turnover hasn't changed. That's no staff on a Monday. That's no electric on a Monday. No gas on a Monday. His business is far more profitable, right? So I do think that these things can be done.
So I've found I'll ship for next year 10 hours a week, and I haven't changed at all. Even I know it's 10 hours a week. Doesn't sound
It's a lot, though, isn't it?
Well, of course, no, it is a lot. It is a lot, but then it was sort of it had to be done, and it was. People the older generation were not like you. What are you doing? What you know?
Well, because for them, like my dad's generation, labour was cheap. Yeah, so especially their labour, it cost them nothing. Yeah. They've paid for it down the line, but at the time, we'll open more than everybody else. We'll work harder than everybody else. And yes, it probably worked back then, And, I remember when my dad telling me stories, I wasn't there, but I remember when in like 78, 79, when he took over the shop that he's got now, although he's retired, but the main shop, he said to me, the main thing they had that was different was that they would open more hours than the people that had it before them. And before that, it was a British couple. They were retiring. They were working like, a couple of 2.5-hour shifts a day, and that was over 4 days a week. And to many ethnic Cypriots, they were like, the hell, these guys are lazy. Like, they're doing 2 times 2.5-hour shifts a day, like 4 days a week, 5 days a week. What, we could do this. And they had nothing but time to earn money, and I get that. But that's not a great long-term business strategy, I'd imagine.
I think the other thing as well is by making these efficiencies closing days, it helps with the staff. I mean, if they're guaranteed 2 days off, if they're definitely getting a Sunday and a Monday off, it makes a big difference. But what we've done as well is done different offers on different days to try and move the volume off of a Saturday, because we were just struggling to staff it. Fridays have always been okay with staff, but Saturdays, it's just a nightmare to staff. And, the staff don't want to work late, and I get it. They want to go out, and it's mostly teenager employment at the moment. So by doing better offers earlier in the week, we've actually took a little bit off of a Saturday and moved it onto the other days. And we even took a little bit off of our Friday and sort of moved it to a Thursday and a Wednesday. And we're taking as much, if not, we're taking more overall than we were, but it's made it more efficient with the staff as well. So we're busier on a Monday now because we do a better offer, but it was the same amount of staff as before. Same on a Tuesday, but we've probably lost 10, 20 customers off a Friday and 10, 20 customers off a Saturday, but it's just worked out better overall. So these efficiencies can make your life a lot easier as well in terms of just getting the staff in the right places. And that's probably the biggest issue for most people, I'd say, is, people turning up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that hasn't really been talked about a lot in the trade at the moment is potato prices. What are you both seeing in that department?
Well, I've seen a massive drop. I think last year on average we were paying. I mean, I was offered a few different contracts at 14.50 last year, and I don't think we got above. I think 13.50 was the most I paid last year, but most of the year it was around 11 to 13 pounds. Crept up to 13.50 last few weeks, and it dropped massively and get to a tenner for the last 4 weeks or so. Now, the last few weeks I've been on prep chips because we had a few issues with spud lads and things, and I'm paying £8 a bag for 10 kilos of chips. But I've been in touch with Spud Merchant as well, and it's £8.50 for a sack of potatoes. That's the cheapest I've known it in 3 years. Yeah. So it's and it looks like it's going to be a cheap year. Apparently, there's a lot about, and the weather's been okay. It was a little dry at the start, but it's rained quite a bit recently. So apparently, we're in for a steady year. I've heard, which that's good news for everyone.
Let's hope so.
You must be on a mega cheap contract, Anthony. You've stayed very quiet. You must be on what, £5.50 a bag, because you're very quiet.
I can't comment on that.
But I think I was chatting to someone in the trade the other day, and he said to me, one of the risks is with potato price coming down a bit is that shops probably feel generous again and top up the portion because they feel like, and that probably undoes some of the work that was gained from the prices going up. So I guess chips is one of those things that has always been seen from the consumer as cheap. And there's that saying that they're cheap as chips, and it always baffles me. Like, and I was in a shop that did larger portions because I was in Nuneaton, which isn't exactly Monaco. Yeah, so and I think it's weird how we got ourselves into that spot. It just is. Like, many people can't probably comprehend the portion sizes that exist in the Midlands, although it's not just the Midlands, it's just portrayed as that. But our good friend Mike Pilley always reminds me, oh, back in the 70s, we did a little bag. I can't remember the sizes. I did this little bag. It was 2 inches wide, and you'd get 3 chips in there. And he always reminds me, he's like, Stel, for a while, he used to go from shop to shop weighing portions of chips.
He did mine.
Did he?
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah, it's like he was obsessed with it. And I remember him saying to people, like, you can't buy this many potatoes from the supermarket for this price. Like, and I remember him saying it, but I think what he was saying was falling on deaf ears. Like, nobody wanted to hear it. Like, like everyone probably looked at him and thought, oh, him again. Like, and he knows that. Like, he knows that. And we have these conversations all the time, and he'll message me. He's like, what do you think of this? I'm like, Mike, like, we've got to move past this, mate. Because we're not going, it's not going to change anything. And I think I like the idea of the industry setting like a portion guideline, but it's so difficult to actually do, like to actually say, well, this is what we recommend a portion of chips to be. Yeah.
What did I say? What was the average chip? Well, they said, was it a 14?
Chip diameter. 14 by 17.
No. The portions.
Sorry.
There were some recommended portions that came out recently.
Okay.
I think it was. I think it was something like 10 or 12 for a regular. Let's say 14 to 16 for a medium, and 18 for a large.
14 for a large.
14. Well, that's smaller than my regular. I'll be totally honest with you. And
I did a 14 today, and my staff were like, "You can't serve that as a regular."
Yeah.
No, I genuinely did know, like, you can't do that for a large. They're just going to throw it back at you. So you're probably right.
I couldn't do that for a small.
No,
I couldn't. That's not like you were saying about stress testing these things earlier. I've done it, and I've took the 1-star reviews on these tests, and have to do for a regular 15, 16 ounce.
That's what. But we portion control, so we have the jugs. I think that was coming out. I took a picture of it. For a regular, there's no way I could do 14 for a large. I'd get lynched.
For a medium, I'm 25, 26, and for a large, I'm 38 to 40 ounce. Now that's massive, but we charge £5.50 for it. It should be £6, but I mean,
is that for a large? Is it?
Yeah, that'll feed 3 adults, no problem. But any smaller,
or one person,
I'm getting complaints. I am getting complaints. Yeah, I'm getting complaints.
So how do you promote that? Like, is it a family? Does it feed a family? Does it feed 3 adults? How are you, like? Do you, or do you just say it's large?
No, you don't. No, you don't say nothing.
You don't say nothing.
So I do. On my menu board, I've got regular, and then in brackets I have 1 adult. I say medium, 2 adults, and then on my large I say in brackets 2 adults, 2 children. I tried calling it a family chips, but they just come in and ask for large.
Yeah, but families in Leicester aren't the same as families.
No. They're a lot bigger than average.
But they expect a large chip to feed 4 adults.
Yeah.
It's not. And a regular chips to feed. Then again, a regular chips probably. I couldn't eat a regular chips. I don't think. It's what's
I mean, a full pound of chips. Take some eating.
There's no way it's for one person. We know that. Everyone knows that. Yeah. Like, surely, like.
I don't know, mate. I've seen them put it away. These lads at lunchtime, they'll come in, buy a regular chip, stand at the back, and it'll be gone. It'll be gone. It's not. I just think people are eating more. We sort of need to accept that. People want the portion.
I saw this article. Well, it was a tweet actually, but it's this guy that I follow. He's a very smart guy when it comes to health, and he was talking about in America they've got this MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. And they're talking about banning seed oils, whether. And this guy goes, look, when the average American eats 4,000 calories a day, doesn't move, they're all sedentary. Does what was it? He says does about eight units of alcohol a day on roughly. what else? He said something else. There's loads of other stuff. He goes, and then we're blaming seed oils or we're blaming sugar. He goes, the fact is, you can't blame one thing when everyone's diet is off whack. And I do listen to this. I'm thinking, fuck me, someone ate like 38 ounces of chips, like, you know, with probably a bad sausage or whatever.
I've watched people buy large chips and eat it. I have, there's one lad who works at the mechanics next door. Every day he buys a medium chips, and he's built like a twig. And, you know, it's 25, 26 ounces of chips, and he just demolishes it every day. Every day for lunch, that's what he has. People are eating it. Yeah. People are eating these portions, and that's what they want.
It's maddening, isn't it? Well, what do you think? Yeah. What do you think the likes of this, like Ozempic and Mounjaro, is going to do? Because I wrote about this a few weeks ago, and you know, is that going to slow people down?
It depends how widespread it goes, doesn't it? I don't, you know, if a lot of people are on it, then yeah, and it's probably a good thing, in my opinion. You know, it will definitely help margins if people are eating less. but it's not widespread at the moment, is it? So it's not something I've particularly got on my radar.
Maybe they should put it in water. In the
tap. yeah.
But like, it is like, it is mad. Like, but I can't. Yeah, like how. Yeah, things have changed. Like, if that's the case, like 38 ounces of chips, you know, and he's probably going to go home and eat at night as well. But then he's doing a physical job, a lot more physical than what I do. So, you know, I remember there was a going joke in our family that my Apple Watch was broken because I'd do like 700 steps a day. Like, I just like the other day we were in Bristol, but I must have done. No, we're in Bristol. When we were in glamping the week, and we went out purposely for a walk. I did lots, and my watch was picking it all up. I get back, the wife hadn't left the glamping place. She'd not left the room. And then I'm bragging at the end of the night. Oh, how many steps you done? I'm like 11,000. She's like, is that it? I did like 12. I'm like, you've not left. Like, how does that work? Like, and she's like, well, I don't stop. I look, here we go. Now it's a dig. Yeah, I look after the kids. I do this. I do that. And I'm like, I have to intentionally go out for a 4-mile walk, and I've still not got close to anything she's done.
You want to try cleaning up still at home. That's what you want to do, mate. It sounds like your wife could do with a hand.
It sounds like too much effort. I would rather, before that happened, I'd rather have a cleaner and an ironing person. There's no way I'm doing anything like that. I think I'm a bit traditional. Like, my dad, I think I've turned if I did stuff like that. But no, it is maddening, like the portion size. But then, you know, again, this is a fish and chip thing. Like, again, like you aren't seeing kebab shops doing it. You're not seeing even independent kebab shops, Charlie. I don't know. Like, you know, we're not really seeing that. We're not seeing it at the likes of McDonald's. We're not seeing it at Five Guys. Yeah, they do bigger challenge burgers maybe if you pay for it, but it's not. You know, what's a large fries from McDonald's? 120 grams. Right?
I think McDonald's is different though. I think Five Guys is big portions.
Yeah.
I think you know those burgers are substantial.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2-3 ounce patties in there, so 6 ounces. So.
Plus, and a lot of fries. It's a lot of fries.
It's in a bun, so that's equivalent to, like, say, a regular fish and chips, say, the bun. And then the fries, there's a lot of fries.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a big meal. That is a big meal.
Yeah, that is true.
Do you still paying 20 quid for it, though?
Yeah, but to get the same amount of food, you'd pay £20 in McDonald's. You know, if you, like, that new burger, that big arch, that's 8-9 quid. Plus your chips on top, you know, you're in £13-14.
You're paying more than that for Five Guys, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, Five Guys is probably, 19 quid for one person?
Yeah, at least.
It's a big portion. So you know, that if you buy medium chips from Five Guys, you're eating that between 2 or 3 of you.
Or that mechanic will have all of them next door.
Yeah.
But, you know, ain't it amazing, though, that the burger industry or scene or whatever just seems to be growing all the time? Like, every time we're writing a story, like, about the industry, it's always some new burger opening. And everyone talks about chicken growth, but actually burgers seem to be independent away from mixed menus. The growth seems to be happening in single burger sites, whether it's Honest Burgers or whether it's Five Guys, Shake Shack. It seems to be that, what is it that people like about a burger? Is it because it's easy to eat on the go? You don't have to, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I class.
I think that's a big part of it. I think a lot of young people now as well, especially, have things on the go all the time.
Yeah, snacking.
You know, they're not buying a takeaway, sitting at home, getting the plates out. They just want something they can eat with their fingers and eat it fast.
Anthony, do you remember, you were a similar age, and growing up, like, we didn't really, I don't know about you, but I don't remember having this snacking culture. Like, whereas I think now we have really caught up with America and we snack all day long. It's just constant grazing.
It's so available though, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
it
go
is.
online now,
Yeah.
and I could get some wings delivered to my house within 5 minutes from somewhere, couldn't
Yeah.
you? That's the convenience of it as well. Before when we were younger, it was either fish and chips, pizza, Chinese or kebab,
Yeah.
wasn't it, or Indian. There was no wing places. I mean, how many wing places are popping up everywhere
Yeah.
as well?
Like Wingstop, that is mental. I was in Manchester Trafford Centre, and the queue for Wingstop was ridiculous. And it was all kids, like, you know, and you think, wow, like, that is.
Have you ever been? Have you seen how they do
No,
it as
not
well?
been in.
And what they
No.
charge?
I think the
We're
thing is
getting-
as well. I think the flavor profile is completely different when you think about it. I mean, the things that are doing well seem to be packing a lot of flavor at the moment.
Well,
as well.
and I think this is where we've missed the trick in our industry. I've been saying it for ages, Charlie, privately on the podcast, you name it. Like, we everyone's like, oh, I don't want to add salt, don't want to add this, don't want to add that. And we've removed all these flavor layers from fish and chips. So if you think, I don't know, I went to a shop when I first started in Yorkshire, Gravely's on Ellen Road. And I remember they were in their batter, they were seasoning their pre-dust. They had MSG and salt in their batter. They were using dripping, not R&D, just old-fashioned dripping. Like, you know, and the fish had that mahogany look, and the chips had that mahogany look too. And anything like it was queue out the door, and it wasn't a match day. And I think, I don't know what that shop's like now, but this was then. Like, and I think a lot of people now, it's like, no, I want to be careful because I've got to be careful for my customers. They've got high blood pressure, and I'm like, you know what? Like, they should be in a chip shop. It's not your job. You're not their GP. Like, you know, your job is to make it tasty for everyone, so they keep coming back. And I'm not saying kill them either, but just make sure that everything's being seasoned well. And I think we've gone down this route where, you know, generally it's like, oh, it's got to have less fat and it's got to have less this and less that, and then, oh, let's water down the non-brewed condiment a little bit, and it's like putting piss on your chips. It's just like, what's the point? Like, you know, I just think, like, I don't know. I think if you're eating out, you want it to be you want it to feel like it's substantial, that it tastes of something. I don't know. That's what I think.
It's like with Wingstop though. It's different sort. Obviously with wings, they fry them and then they put the sauce on afterwards, so you can choose between how many different sauces go on chicken, and it works well. Imagine trying to, I don't know.
See, I'm not. I think it's where people misunderstand. They think I'm talking about tarting up fish and chips. I'm not. I just think even if it's in its most
enhancing the flavour,
enhancing the flavour, keeping it where.
You know what, you're like your MSG. I know you love
do.
MSG and shit like that. Yeah, I know.
I got an ulcer at the minute, and I was laughing to myself earlier, thinking, "Oh, I've got to have a hot salt rinse." And I thought, "What would happen if you put MSG in there?" but no, like, I mean, I you know, I've been out on a limb for a long time now talking about MSG, and I know a lot of people think, "Oh, it kills people," and blah blah blah. And you think, you know what? You know, anything with enough dose is going to kill anybody. Like, you know, people drown in water. Yeah, so that happens too. And I just think, for me, like, you know, the South Koreans, the Chinese, I don't know much about the North Koreans because there's not a lot of data out there, but they have so much MSG in their diet. But you look how healthy they are. The South Koreans live the longest on the planet, pretty much. And they have 2 times more MSG intake than the Chinese. Like, and you think...
But I think the thing is, as well, is that when we're not supposed to be people's mainstay of their diet.
No,
you know, people are looking for a treat when they come to us. And if you're having a treat, it's got to taste good.
Yeah.
Right, if you've got fresh haddock that's a few days old and you're not putting any salt in your batter and you're just using plain rice cones in brand new oil, and you know, if you've got a marquee, say at the end of this season, there's not a lot going on there. You're relying on the salt and vinegar to carry you through. And it's, you know, by the time that's been wrapped in paper or a box and sent home, they're not tasting that.
No.
Like, it's just plain white fish without much flavour and batter that's got a crisp but no flavour to it as well, and chips that are a bit dry because they're end of season potatoes. That's not dragging people back. That's not making people choose you over a Chinese or chicken wings or a burger. You know, you got to do better than that now.
It's Charlie. You just hit the fucking nail on the head, mate.
Yeah.
I was just like speechless for a moment. I was just like, he's just bloody explained it. Like, yeah, and it is so true that you've just explained how to make boring fish and chips. Like, and you're right. Nobody is going to be kicking your door down for repeats of that. It's just not going to happen. And it is, you say it's a treat. I think it's a guilty pleasure. I think we should be saying to people, that's one of the main reasons why I stopped doing the analysis service, because I really wasn't. It was a decent money spinner. Like, we made all right out of it, but I just felt like we were sending the wrong message. We're basically, this whole focus was on analysis, and where I do believe that we should know what our nutritional content is. I think the problem is people kept seeing it as a competition, a game, who can get the lowest figures. And then I noticed that actually the fish and chips looked crapper. They were more boring. They were flatter. One guy had so little fat in his fish, I'm convinced he took fish out of the pan and put it under the grill for 10 minutes, because it was and because everyone was like, they wanted to have the lowest figure. And I just think, that's not really selling flavor for me, and my kids are, they absolutely love fish and chips, and they love the flavor. They like the vinegar when it's nice and strong, and they want it to be well seasoned. And I think that's important. I think it's really important to bring people back. Otherwise, what are we trying to sell to people? Bring them back with some joy.
But was that a fad from before? Because remember, it was a whole health issue, wasn't it? And it was trying to be. It's probably your fault anyway.
What's my fault?
All this trying to do this and that, and people trying to be a healthy fish and chips. So you're the one that made it.
Well, yeah, but I know maybe it was, but I never wanted blandness. But I'm happy to put my hands up and say we've learnt a thing or two. Yeah, and
don't do it.
Don't nobody. Nobody.
Don't get your fish and chips analysed by stealth.
No, well, you can't anyway, no more. But the key thing is just do what you do. Make sure it's bloody tasty. Yeah, and people will keep coming back. Burgers are not healthy. There is no way they're healthy, but they're nice, and we go back for them. I know that French fries carry more fat than chip shop chips, but I like French fries. They're really crispy and they're nice, and and that's why I stay away from them mostly, because I get fat just by looking at them. And I think the point is that, Charlie, one of our favourite restaurants, is the Turkish restaurant. Yeah. And why do we like it?
There's a lot of MSG. But it's super tasty. Yeah. Those lamb ribs, what they're cooking them in, but they're unreal.
Yeah, well, it's nothing that special. It's the addition of MSG.
You think it's afterwards, after you finish eating, and you wake up and you need to drink 3 pints of water?
I'll just drink 3 pints of water and be happy that I have.
I do follow the science there, and I know where that comes from, and that doesn't happen at the Turkish. It happens more so at the Chinese, and that is Chinese restaurant syndrome. And
is that because they use too much?
Well, no, they use it's a combination. So Chinese restaurant syndrome is actually too much use of MSG, sugar, salt, and alcohol. So they fry all their dishes with Shaoxing wine, and then when you're in a Chinese takeaway, you have a beer as well. So it's severe dehydration, essentially. Whereas, if a chip shop's adding, for argument's sake, I don't know, 1 teaspoon of MSG to their pre-dust or 1 teaspoon of MSG to their bucket of batter, that is no way near the same thing. No way near. Chinese are probably adding, I would imagine, to each dish that you get from a Chinese takeaway, you've probably got 1/4 teaspoon of MSG, probably 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, more sugar actually, depends if it's a sauce or not. So you can see how you're layering up, and then you're having a beer with it, you're finishing yourself off. So one thing I say to everybody that enjoys Chinese food is, if you've ordered a takeaway, have a pint of water before it comes, and then drink water with it. And then you'll notice that the next day you don't wake up with the headaches or the dehydration. It's boring because, it is, but it is a way to get around it. But you know what? The opposite can be true too, though. Look at a Domino's pizza. Like, they don't taste that great, and yet their sales are immense. They've figured out how to get the perfect balance between blandness and taste, so you carry on eating more of it. Who else has done the same? Doritos have figured out exactly that as well, which is immense. Yeah. But again, I've had crisps with MSG and without MSG. I've had sriracha sauce with MSG and without MSG. I can tell you which one's better all day long. Yeah, MSG one. So, yeah, and also there's less salt in the MSG with the ones with MSG, because how do you increase the flavour when there's no MSG? Salt and sugar. So it ends up being worse for you. So yeah. So if you want it, technically, I'd argue if you want low sodium and low sugar, you go for the one with MSG.
You're pushing it there.
Although you probably eat more, and then you're back to square one again. But point is, taste is king. If you want people to come back, taste is king. I'd probably go as far as saying it's probably going to be bigger than portion size. I think portion size is, going back to that other conversation we just had, is probably got necessity in certain points. But if something tastes better, I think that's probably going to bring them back all day long. I think people may disagree.
Do you think people are scared of MSG though? Like the general public?
No, I think it's the media that scared them. No, I think
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
no, that's
I think
exactly
maybe,
I mean.
But then they might be scared of eating it wherever, but they're still consuming tons of Chinese food. They're still consuming loads of Indian food. They're still eating Doritos and Pringles by the ton. Like, they're not that scared. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think this.
If you had
not scared like that, but if you turn around and said that you put MSG in your fish and chips, do you reckon I'll react differently?
I don't think you need to turn around and say you do it. I just don't. Again, I think this comes back to our marketing. Like, why is it we have to say we do it? Like, when you buy a packet of crisps, let's say, I don't know, Pringles, for argument's sake, they don't say on the front, we use MSG. No Chinese takeaway says we use MSG. I think again, we go back to how fish and chip shops think, which is we must say everything to everybody. You know, yeah. What were you going to say, Charlie?
I was going to say something along those lines. I said your average customer isn't going to ask.
No.
And if they do ask, be honest. But who's asking? No one's ever asked me what makes fish and chips taste good. I just say it's fresh. You know, really, it's my pre-dust with a bit of white pepper and a little bit of MSG. It's beautiful.
I think, again, like, why is it that, and this is a thing, why is it that customers think they can go into a chip shop and tell them what they're doing right or wrong when they'd never do it to any other cuisine operator? Like, they'd never go into a Chinese takeaway and go, excuse me, I'm really not too keen on how you do the beef and black bean sauce. Like, they're not going to do it. Like, they're just not. And maybe they do, but I don't think they will. Like, they're not going into McDonald's and saying, you know what, you would make the perfect Big Mac? A bit more Big Mac sauce. They're not doing it. They can order more anyway, I think. But why is it? Just because we give them permission in the fish and chip industry to do it. We give customers this huge license to come in and dictate what they can and can't do. Because it goes back to what we said earlier. When customers complain in a chip shop, you're at the thick end of the wedge, and you feel like you've got to listen because you're going to upset that customer. But, like, have some pride in what you do. Like, we have to change everything because they said so. Yeah, that's my thought. I don't know.
And what I'd say to people as well is don't overcorrect. Like, if you're going to try some things out, don't all of a sudden chuck everything in, and because you'll have problems on the other way where people will moan that something's changed. Maybe just add a bit of salt to your batter to begin with, and tell your staff to put a little bit more salt and vinegar on when people ask for it, and maybe a bit of extra salt and sugar in your mushy peas. But don't all of a sudden chuck a bucket load of MSG and everything, because you might put
and as much as I love MSG, it isn't the answer to everything. Like, it isn't the answer to everything, because it's not going to make fish and chips taste that much better if your fish is shit. It's just not going to help you there. If your oil's crap, it's not going to help you there. So as much as I do love making a joke of MSG and how much I love it, I joke about it, but it isn't really going to help you if your product is terrible. Yeah, if what Charlie said earlier, which is the perfect storm of boringness, if that's your product, MSG is not your savior there, is it really? Like, so I do believe in layering. Our gravy, for example, 6 years ago there was, and not that allergens are bad, but 6 years ago there was 4 allergens in it. Now there's none. And that's one at a time, just testing and adjusting and getting rid of one and making sure that nobody notices. And it still tastes as good as it did then. And again, allergens aren't bad. It just means that some people can't have them because they're allergic. And I think, at one point I thought, have we gone too far here? Has the change been too much? And it wasn't. It was fine. Everyone carried on. No customers complained. No customers of customers complained. And I think this is why it's important never to sort of do everything at once, because you do everything at once, it's a huge change. Whereas one little change here and there, you're just stepping forward steadily. And look, we've never really been afraid of change. Ceres is, we swim in it because you've got to move with the times. You can't just sit there and say, oh, I'm afraid of change, I'm not going to change. I think you've just got to embrace it. And that's just the way it is, I think. And I know, it's just maybe I'm different, but I think that sitting there saying, oh, I'm afraid of change. I remember at the time when all of the new allergen directive came out and everyone's screaming, saying, oh, we can't have this, we can't have that. No one's going to want it. And I don't believe in that. I just think you've got to keep moving in the right direction. But what's interesting with this, again, just to finish off on this cost of living crisis, though, is like, I was at Dart's Farm the other day, and it's a really nice farm shop in Devon. Apparently, according to them and whoever gave it them, it's the best farm shop in the UK. And I was just charging the car, and we went in to get some bits because we were doing glamping. There was a really nice butchers in there. We got some amazing pork belly, and it was amazing at how busy this place was. Like, it was immensely busy. And I'm just standing there thinking to myself, everyone's here, and obviously it's a target audience. People have got money to be there, but there was no cost of living on show there. There was no one crying about the cost of this, or a loaf of bread was £8. And all right, it's all nice bread, and I'm sure it's amazing, but people buying it. The eggs were like, £5 for 6. Again, nobody was crying. They were just picking them up and going. Not just picking them up and going, they actually pay. Because that's probably why they weren't crying if they were nicking them. But, then we were going to the service station on the way home a day later, and we went to Gloucester Services.
It's good,
really good, really good. And it is owned by the same people that have Tenby Services near Scotland, and everything's hyper local, homemade, and a flat white was £5, and it was rammed. You couldn't move. I bought the kids a £4 brownie, which they loved. It wasn't that big, and I don't care. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that what we're seeing is people are willing to spend on great things, experiences, great things, tasty food, a day out. They want to enjoy it. But what they're probably not willing to do, which is what we're seeing with Greg's and probably the likes of Pret a Manger and things like that, is anything that's boring and expensive, they're probably not willing to spend that money no more, because anyone can make a great sandwich at home. I was the king at making sandwiches at home, man. I just, I know it's sad, but I'd make a great sandwich, better than a sandwich you get.
Add it to your CV still.
With extra MSG, that's what it takes.
It had no MSG in it. But what I'm saying is, anyone can make a great sandwich at home. You just need the ingredients. So to go pay that from a Greg's where it's £4, and it's a bit boring, it's been sitting in the fridge all day.
It's convenience, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're starting to feel the pinch. And what is it they're going to do to sex?
But who? Because the clientele, right, who go to Gloucester Services and where you went in Devon, yeah? No offence, you probably might not see them in a Greg's.
There was other ones, but not Greg's, no.
I think the thing is, we've got to try and make things as good of an experience as things as well. I mean, fish and chips, there's only so much you're going to do to the product. The chip shop sausage is a chip shop sausage, a pucker pie is a pucker pie, fish and chips. Great fish and chips to average fish and chips, there's a gap, but to a customer, the gap's probably not that huge. If they go in and they're getting average service in a tired shop with, and then they're being charged extra for the sauce and then not tasting amazing, well, they're not going to come back, are they? So if you can make it more of an experience, your staff have got really nice uniforms, they've got you've trained them to give a really good greeting, you perhaps give them a free tartar sauce with every fish that they get, a wedge of lemons, some nicer packaging. Now, you're starting to build an experience compared to...
You're building a brand for yourself, aren't you? That's what you're trying to create at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're trying to build a brand, aren't you? You're trying to create something like that. This is where we say about people are scared of change. They just don't do it because they're just stuck in their ways, aren't they? And it's like so we do exactly that.
Shop with brown tiles and the girls are in tabards and food's been sat there. Who's coming back?
So interesting, because the lady I know that owns the McDonald's, some McDonald's franchises, not all. She's got about 23 sites now, and she was saying to me, when things get tight, as in the economy. She goes, one of their key weapons is free sauce. She goes, so it is something that is always abused in a McDonald's, but it's the way you deliver the message. So if you're in a McDonald's and you say, oh, and someone comes over to bring you food, they say, oh, have you got any sauce? They'll say, oh, we shouldn't give it you, but I've got some in my pocket. Here you go. And it's just that. She goes, everyone delivers a different message, but actually the story is give them free sauce because we don't want to keep them, we don't want them to be unhappy.
Aren't they free anyway?
Some are, yeah. But on the machine, you have to pay. They put a price next to it. Right. But what he's saying is, the lad says to me, oh, I should really charge, but here you go. But really, they weren't going to charge me. They're just saying it. It's the story. It makes it look like they've just bent over backwards to look after me. And I do think sometimes, maybe we could look a bit mean in our industry, but then also I know customers can take the piss too. So it's a fine line. It is a real fine line because, if you had a bottle of sauce there and you said, oh, it's free for customers, whatever, how long before that 1 litre bottle of sauce has been absolutely polished? Like, you just know, don't you?
Yeah, we always say to customers, if you want a bit on your food, we'll do it for free. If you want it in a pot and I've got to wrap it and the package, I'm going to have to charge you. 9 out of 10 of them just have a little bit in the corner on their tray, and it just it cost me 6p portion probably. Like it's nothing, but keeps people happy. But at the same time, you are stopping people taking the piss. If you're potting up 6 or 7 sauces for free, then you can't do that either.
Yeah, especially on the kebabs. That does my head on kebabs.
Yeah, we were getting loads of people asking sauce separate, salad separate. So now we do the salad separate as standard. We get the little plastic tubs that you get like Chinese food in, and we just make up a load every day. And what that's done as well is stop the customization. Can have a bit of lettuce, bit of onion, but I don't want this, but I don't want that. And we just go, no, it's a set salad now. And some people are a bit put off by it, but 90% of customers are just like, yeah, that's brilliant. And they're just happy to have it separate because they're asking for it anyway, most of them. And then the kebabs are staying hotter as well, and it's just sped up service, no end.
That's a good idea.
It's a tough one because if it was up to customers, they'd have it their own way all day long, wouldn't they? But
and then you end up spending 20 minutes serving one customer because one wants.
Me and Charlie's had this chat before. I'm convinced that people haven't quite got their figures right on kebabs anyway. I remember years ago standing in the shop with a stopwatch trying to figure out how long it took to make a kebab. And I think back then when we looked, it was like 6 minutes. And when you consider how long it takes to make a kebab and then your labour costs, I think people haven't even factored that in. They'll be like, oh, I've got staff anyway. Yeah, but when, they're standing there waiting for the pita bread and they're looking at the wall and, they're doing everything as slow as possible because they don't want to jump back onto service to do it. It costs money. And I think that's one of the things that haven't been factored in. And, many shops I see that don't even measure the meat, just goes in there, just fill it up. Oh, when it's full because you can feel it. What do you mean? What sort of comment is that? When it's full because you can feel it. You pinch here's a little trick. You pinch the bottom of the pita bread. I think there's a lot of these things where people are just giving away money and they don't quite realise it. And I think
I hate kebabs. Yeah. I do, honestly.
Well, I've just changed my mind to make them easier because I was the same. I hated them because they just slow everything down. People are picky. Yeah. There's never enough meat. So we've changed.
You walk in with staff there and they're just spinning, burning. You're like, come on, guys. They're just wasting. Yeah. That's what they've got to be looked at. This is what, like in beauty, I don't do kebabs. And you can tell from the product that we sell, we're more concentrated on our fish and chips. Because I put them in Bewdley on my own back. And my old man said to me, my dad said to me, it won't work. I was like, it'll be fine. First 2 months, it was great. I was like, this is poor, this is ridiculous. And it slowed it down. But it took the emphasis on what we were good at because it just, you more staffing. And then my brewer Nick as well, when he walks into his shop and he'll see his kebab, just 3 staff there, and they're just, you can top layers burning. You're like, come on. So it's just wastage and then salad cutting all the time. I do them in Alzone. I hate them. I'll take them out if I didn't have to.
How much does a kebab machine cost to run when it's on? Like for an hour, if you left it on for an hour, like what would that cost? Anybody know? Like,
I can't remember.
I don't want to.
It's not as bad as you think. The gas ones aren't. I've got an electric one, but my utilities are done differently at the shop with the electric one. But the gas one, it's not as bad as you think.
Oh, really?
It's a lot cheaper than an electric one.
Yeah.
But we've changed. So we've gone from a pita bread to a naan bread. So now we can put it on the contact for 20 seconds.
20 seconds. That's fine.
You give less meat. On a naan bread. So that covers the cost of the extra to the pita bread. It looks like more. It's quicker to sell. We just do it in a box now. Salad separate. So our kebabs are as fast as fish and chips now.
I think it works better in a chip shop like that side as well. I think it's good. I used to do sourdough wraps as well, but only small ones, and that people like them more. We sell probably just as much of them as pita breads. To be fair, it's mainly the meat and chips and salads.
Yeah, I knocked wraps on the head because they were taking too long, and people were wrapping them and splitting them. And
that's when they can't wrap them. They're like, it won't match because you've got a kilo of meat in there. That's why.
Yeah, but I do think though. Half of this does come down to the way we train people as well. Like, mate, I remember when I first started, my dad's like, "Come on in, stop being lazy. You're a lazy shit." I was 14. Like, by that point, I should have been running the shop apparently. And then I'll go in, and he's like, "Go on, serve that customer." No training whatsoever. Now, in his brain, you're born here, you live next door, you've took enough chips for yourself over the time. You should know, shouldn't you? You're my, you've come from my loins. You should know. Anyway, so I go over, I start putting chips on a tray and a big scoop thing. I'm looking at him. He's not even looking at me until I've gone way past the line. So I'm looking at him. Scoop 1, okay. Scoop 2, I look nothing. Scoop 3, all I feel is this immense size 13 boot kick me in the leg. Wasn't very subtle. I ran out of the shop fucking fuming. And I was like, that's not how, even then I knew that's not how you train people. Like, and he's like, well, you should know. And I think we do this a lot. You should know. You're my son. Like, and I think we do this with staff. Like, you should know. Like, why? Like, and I think this is where fish and chips finds it's really hard because you go into a McDonald's, everything's systemized. And we use McDonald's as an example, but all of them are. Everything is systemized to be within a really close fault tolerance. Probably 5 gram difference on a portion of fries. They know that they're factored it in every time. Like if 3 of us went into a McDonald's, KFC, or Burger King today together, one after each other, and we all ordered the same thing, I bet you the weights won't be that different. And I think whereas if we all walked into anyone's chip shop, we know, yours included, we'd have probably different differences. And I think, and as good as we all are, or we think we are, because we've all got faults, we're never that great. And I think that probably leaves us, the business is exposed somewhat, even with, these new chip scoops that didn't exist when I was growing up. And that sounds really old, but yeah, like I think, back then we just got a kick in the leg.
Yeah, I mean, we use bowls because we still wrap in paper the chips.
Buckets or bowls.
Yeah, as well. Close. And we had a click and collect that didn't turn up. Turns out they'd come in the previous day, and the staff didn't let us know. But that's and it had 5 bags of chips on it. So I spot checked the portions, and we had something like 3 that were bang on. And then which was 15 ounce, and then we had 118, and then we had 120, and I really pushed the portion control. We got these bowls that you fill level and you tip out, but I just showed the girls, I was like, look, this is crazy. There's 5 ounce difference in there. That's like 30p of chips now. You do that 100 times a day, it really adds up. So, but at the same time, you can't be seen to be tight in front of customers. Imagine weighing each portion out. You'd be on the local Facebook groups, people losing their minds instantly.
Talking about local Facebook groups. Honestly, last night my phone was ablaze. Yeah. I must have had 4 different people texting me this different thing. No, the same thing, but different stories. And this shop somewhere, I won't say where because it's not right to. This guy who runs this shop has got caught. What's the word? Maybe sexually.
Careful.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the right word. Like being sexually. What's the word?
Inappropriate.
Yeah, to the point where the police have got involved and he's admitted it. And so it looks like, if all of those images are true. Because again, when social media gets involved, like you don't know vigilanteism and all that shit.
Yeah, it's Chinese whispers very quickly, isn't it?
Yeah. And like, if it's true, like that guy's business is toast, surely, because I saw like 15 different memes yesterday that are all probably hitting the local pages of where his shop is.
There was hundreds of comments about how people are never going there. And
it's finished now. Yeah, there's no coming back from that, is there? There's no coming back from that.
No matter how good his fish and chips are and how big his portion is. Not his portion, sorry. I'm like, no, sorry, I meant the fish and chip portion, by the way.
No, there's no coming back from that. That's game over. Definitely. Especially get to local media as well. Local.
You make social media.
That's what we are. We're part of a community, aren't we? That's it. It's yeah.
Well, that's the crazy thing. If you're sponsoring local football teams, and I think he does, because I've followed his shop online for ages. If you're doing all of this, and all of a sudden it's like, and let's say there's some truth. Let's just jump ahead and assume it's true, and it's not just some witch hunt. Like that it's got to be toast, because no one's going to want their kids to play for that football team that's got that shop's logo on it, are they?
It's not. No, it's tainted. Yeah. It's done. It's finished.
He won't get any, even if he wanted to open. It's
not even like he's been done for something. This stays with you now. This does. This doesn't go anywhere. That's the problem, and it does. It's got a title now, and that's what it will be. And he's just
you wouldn't want your daughter working there, would you? You wouldn't even want your son.
No, nobody working there, would you? You wouldn't want your kids going in there, let alone working.
Yeah. But we are in a position of responsibility. You know, every chip shop employs teenage boys and girls. That's what we do. That's the majority of the core staff of most shops.
Especially now with the youngsters, because they're all mental. We've got a duty of care, haven't we?
Do you mean neurodivergent?
No, they're nuts. They're mental.
I do think we've always had this responsibility, and my dad never really liked being around the kids anyway. Like, my dad's old school. Like, he had manageresses that dealt with all that, beneath him in some ways. But you could, and then there's as far as Mark Patru goes. Like, Mark Patru always says in the podcast that he'll never go in the walk-in fridge with another member of staff. And you think, I get it. Like, when you hear stuff like this, you can probably see how you start overreacting and think, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be hyper vigilant now, and I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that." But I go to a lot of shops, as you know, and I remember one shop I went to, and he was doling out the wage slips in the brown envelope, and he was saying, I've told you this before, Charlie, because you're laughing, but he was like making them kiss him on the lips or on the cheek and stuff, and I was like,
no, yeah. Jesus Christ.
And I was like, mate, there's some weird power trip going on here. And I think, but, there is a lot of these old school things that older men, or, mostly men, let's face it. You're not seeing many women going out there and saying, "Oh, come here, pet." It's mostly men in places of authority. And maybe he just thought, I'm the king of the hill, and this is my hill. And if you want to work here, this is the price you got to pay. Who knows? Again, this is all allegedly, if it's all true.
I think we've all had it in the past. I've had staff in the past, like the guys, perhaps a bit older, have said, to the girls when they've come in, "Oh, you look great today. It's nice to be working with you, whatever. You look beautiful or whatever." And the girls have come to me after and said, "I don't really think you should be saying that to me." And you think, well, no, you probably shouldn't. But that's probably how he spoke to women forever. You've got to be really careful.
Well,
you've got to keep an eye on stuff.
I guess in some ways this feeds into what Anthony's doing, because Anthony's got a couple of young girls on their social media feed, and then you've told me, Anthony, that you frequently get unsolicited.
It's not like I enjoy it. Like I've signed up for something.
They're coming to your inbox, and they're phalluses, shall we say?
I got a dick pic sent to me. That's what it was. That's a 55-year-old bloke. I was like, "Geez, yeah, but we've said about that before." And
that must be like what we're talking about. What Charlie's just mentioned. That's turbocharged, though, isn't it? Like, that's like now you're receiving photos, and you're like, "Mate, come on!" Like,
well, look at the comments you get as well on social media.
I've seen some of the comments on that.
I think you sent me one once, Charlie, and I was like, "That is brutal. What is wrong with people?" Like.
It's right, but the people are horrible fuckers as well. That's a problem. There's two extremes. But when they go for it, they really go for it. In fact, we've been sent death threats.
Why?
Has to get police involved.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you afterwards. Yeah. Honestly, you should read these messages. They're horrendous. Seriously, it is. It's disgusting. I'll send you afterwards. I'll put them on there afterwards. They're horrendous. Seriously, I've had the shop to be threatened to be burnt down.
Why? Like, what was this warped
It's
person's
just
reasoning?
socials because they don't like the videos and they think they had a right time. No, seriously, you should see the messages that we've had off this person. Please get involved. It's honestly, it's disgusting. It's up, and people think they can do it. Some of the comments we have to filter out. But again, what we said before, they think they have a right to do it. Oh, you look beautiful today. Okay, fair enough. But
I think the word beautiful is a bit creepy. Like,
no,
but
it
if
is.
I knew someone, like, let's say, if I know Charlie's girlfriend, soon to be wife, and I've met your wife, I've not met her often enough to say, "Oh, you look really nice today." That is probably as far as you go. Like, but to say, if I don't know her really well, I'm definitely not saying the word beautiful. Like, I think I've got to meet Chantel another 10 times to say that with you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, or you might say it at your wedding, "Oh, you look really beautiful." Like, but to fucking say it in the
no,
chip
that's right.
shop,
It's a context. It's a context you put it in.
to say it when you're ordering your battered sausage and chips and curry sauce.
See, that's exactly it. That's why we had to filter battered sausages and sausages out and stuff like that.
So if I on your social media pages wrote sausage, what would I?
You've already tried it once.
But someone said like battered sausage, like it wouldn't show.
Yeah, probably not now. No, we filtered more.
Like even if I said that battered sausage and chips I had yesterday was ace, like it'd be like. But it's weird how we have to think about that now. Like, but I think I said to you on the last podcast we did, Anthony. Like, I'm not overly shocked now. I'm just laughing more because you have told me this. But like, I think it's crazy that people use their inside voice outside. Like
they have the right to, don't they? That's
you know, like we've all got an inside voice. You might walk past a woman and go, "Ooh," but you're not going to say it out loud. Your brain does it, and you carry on with your day. But now it feels like we can just
because there's no repercussions of it, isn't there?
Is this the new wolf whistling? Is this?
Yeah, of course it is. It's worse than wolf whistling. It's. Oh, you should go on my show in there. Honestly, it's horrendous. Some of them are, but it's thing is though, the mixed age of it. It's when it's by blokes who are 40 years old, and it's just.
Oi, I'm 40. Chill out.
Yeah, blokes that are 40 years old and stuff, like with families as well.
Wasn't it last time you showed me there was one guy that commented and he had his profile photo with him and his wife and his kid or something?
That was the one that sent me a dick pic. Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. I think he must have been pissed or something like that. But it's like, why give? It's like you're not sending her that; you're sending it to me. But then people sometimes message, obviously our page, thinking it's Destiny Army or Tegan, or all the girls or people whoever's been on the videos, and you're like, it's.
So how many people you got doing this now? How many girls you got doing your social media?
Naomi, Tegan, Destiny. I've got another. The lads are getting involved now as well.
Okay, so several.
Yeah.
Do the lads get?
Yeah. I've got Pete. Pete Marudi. He's one of the beauty. He's well, just I think he's 40, but he doesn't mind laughing at a joke.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's probably. I would imagine most guys would just laugh off something like that, but women would not, obviously.
That's what I mean. One of the girls there now who's doing it. Before she was like, "You can't do it." She did a video on a Friday. She got 250,000 views. She found me to like take it down, and now she's doing well with it. It's like you can't take it to heart because people are fucking horrible, and they are.
Yeah, I've spoken to some of my staff about doing similar videos, and they're just not interested. They just don't want to do it because in case too many people do look at it.
No, absolutely. I think I don't know. I couldn't think of anything worse than being a social media person for my business. I don't know. I just don't.
Makes you think why would our staff? It's going to be a tricky one to get people involved, but that's what Facebook wants now. Instagram, they want the reels, don't they? That's what we need to be aiming for.
I worry about the sense of duty as well. If someone's working for you, and they're getting dick pics or someone's waiting outside for them. To be fair, they're waiting outside for them. I remember when I used to work the shop, the creeps always used to hang around outside
Just ask the girls when do you finish and things like that. Are you local? Blah blah blah. And you think it's pushing it. And then on social media, it's to an extreme scale, isn't it?
I remember like my cousin used to work for us, George and Bourne, and I remember he picked up on something I said to a customer once. And he'd come from a very late night busy shop, it was famous in Leicester called Mario's Chippery. It was like mega famous. They'd be up till like 5 a.m. And he said, you learn to watch what you say because 90% of people that come in after 11 p.m. are pissed. Yeah. And I remember one night I was serving a husband and wife, and I did the food and I just said, oh, see you later. I didn't think of what I'd said. And the husband went ballistic. Well, what do you mean you're going to see her later? Well, I was like, well, no, I just meant bye. Like, and he said to me, like, you learn very quickly in Leicester serving people that are out of it. You don't watch what you say.
One of my shops is well, it's not even a mile. It's probably half a mile from where Mario's was. So yeah, you do learn very quickly to be careful what you say.
Yeah, but yeah, it's mad. Like we were saying, how you've got a sense of duty now, a sense of care to all your staff, and if you're putting them on social media, I wonder where that. I don't know if are you doing like, are you having different conversations, different contracts in place? How do you keep them safe? Because again, the weirdos existed before social media. I remember, and I'm sure you saw this back in the day, Anthony, how many creeps would come in the shop and be like, oh, what time did you finish, love? And they'd be outside waiting, and so yeah, now it's just it's entered a new dimension, hasn't it? Really,
It's quite scary, isn't it?
Do you have to do anything different, Anthony? Do you do anything different for the girls, or do you just try and keep your eye on it as best you can? Or
We have a chat with them, but they're on social media anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're on there anyway, so they've got their own accounts and do bits and bobs. So it's not like we've forced them into it. If they want to do it, then they do it. Obviously, Destiny's done well for herself. Now we did Pucker Pie today. That was quite good. So we had Pucker Pie. They came in today and did a video on something. Oh shit! Was I meant to say that? Anyway,
you have now.
I'll be out before this goes out, wouldn't it? Stuff probably. But anyway, but she's doing well off it. She's got some good deals. That Jelly Cat the other day, she did that with them. So a video went, I think it's one of the highest videos, like 3 million views on that she got. But she's getting noticed now. So they were apprehensive before to do it. She was really apprehensive. But then when she realised that what it could offer her as well. She's a trainee nurse and she's enjoying it. But they're all on social media anyway, but they've got to be extra careful now. But this has gave her more of the limelight. And I think the staff have realised that as well. So a lot of them want to get involved now more. So yeah, we are careful who we do it with. You've got to be careful. I mean, because again, it's you've got to be thick-skinned to do it, haven't you?
Yeah, I find none of my staff want to do videos as such like that. Even if I'm filming them wrapping a bag of chips, they don't want to be in it as such. So to find a couple of girls who really want to do it is really good.
It's different. It's a different approach that we had, wasn't it? Because it's not for saying what we do as a business, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's more of a brand that we've created, and that's what it was. We tried that sort of it. Oh, here's how we do this and that. But people don't give a shit. That's the thing. As a local thing, it's great, but how many locals can you get? You're not going to get, 230 million views on whatever else from locals. That's the thing. So it's a different approach that people can have. Whereas before, it's very, very personalised and so it kept in part of where we were, but. It's you either go one way or the other. So you try and put on your special offers, you try and emphasise stuff like that. Where we've gone a different approach and just try to have a little bit of fun with it. And it's luck of the draw, isn't it? And it worked, and it's still working. Where people are like, oh, it'll go off. But we've got some good things coming off it. It's hard work. We don't stop with it. It's hard work. Hey, right. So it is hard work, and it's a different.
There's so many chip shops now that I follow that are all doing this. Like, and whether it's the same level, I don't know. And I'm not on social media that much, so maybe I see more of it. But I do think to myself, like, when are they serving customers? Like, some of the shops are quite small or local, and probably got a couple of staff, or it's always the same people. And I do think to myself, like, are they? I don't know. Like, are they actually serving customers, or are they doing it when it's closed, or? Obviously, because I don't always see customers.
Is it because they're quiet and they're doing that? That's what I mean.
That's what I don't know. I don't know the answer. Yeah.
We'll do it before they open. The point of view videos they do before we open. We do it randomly, so we'll do it when we're open. We'll do it in the morning. We did like the Professor Green thing. We did that in the morning before we even opened. Then while we opened, we did that as well. So it's. I don't know.
I suppose for small shops, like I just wouldn't have time. By the time I've peeled some potatoes and cut some fish, it's time to open.
No,
So I
haven't.
guess you need to have a shop at
I
to
suppose that's why.
advise.
That's why. Yeah, that's why the video. I think that's what it was. So, manager Jack, obviously, we've got a management team there where it's not, as I said to you, it's not like it's emphasising not. It's the products that we do, but it's something different, isn't it? It's just a completely different approach to it. It doesn't work. Oh, here's our pie chip special for £6 out of sauce. Yeah, come down on Tuesday. We've got away from that and we tried to do something different, and that's what
Well,
works.
I guess so. At the beginning of this phase, I was probably looking at it thinking, well, what good is it if 4 Chinese people, I know it's more than that, but 4 Chinese people in China see this video? And I'm thinking, well, that's never going to bring money in the till. Whereas actually, very quickly, I realized that actually it's a completely different thing. It's content creation, and you're getting
That's what it was.
paid for being a content creator. And in this instance, it's the business being content creators.
No, it is. That's we wanted to be. Our plan was. Our plan was to be the fish and chip shop of social media. Yeah, let's do that. I said, let's get our brand out there. Let's be fish and chip shop worldwide of social media. How can we do it? What can we do? And it obviously that's what happened. So I don't want it. I don't want that. Remember that shop that went massive in Coventry? Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want my queues out my door and this and that. I don't want that at all. We're busy enough as it is, and we're trying to create something different away from the actual structure of our fish and chip shop as well. So it's more like we're trying to create a brand off it. It's working. We're doing, it's going very well.
Has it
It's
actually
not.
made your shop any busier though? Do you think, or were
It's a
you
good.
just
I
maxed
mean,
out before?
they're good. It's a beauty, especially. It's a good shop anyway. Obviously, it's where it is. It's a good location. I've got a great team there. Hasn't made us any busier. People have come down. People have come down. No doubt about it. It has brought people in. I didn't want it. As I said before, I didn't want it to be that massive flux of queues outside the door. I didn't want. We didn't. That's what we didn't want. That's why we don't really put the location where it is. People always asking where it is and where it is. People can find out. But I didn't want it to be. I think that's where you create a fad. I think that's where you create something that's quick, gone. That's what I mean. So that's what we didn't want to have. We wanted to create something that's going to carry on and what we can have off it as well. I mean, we've got a lot coming off it, but it's going
Do you
places
think?
that
Do you think it'll come in handy when you open another shop?
this
The
massively,
the whole social media thing.
massively, yeah. But I don't think I'd open a shop in England again or something. I don't think I'd open one. I think now what we're going to do, we want to have shops like Bewdley. We want a flagship. We want. We've had some stupid deals. Some stupid things come from. People are messaging about franchising in Dubai. So I don't know nothing about that. Jesus, that's what I mean. It's going to that extent. You're like, where does it go, and how do you go about it? With the deals that we've gone on, it's pop-up shops here. Do you want to come over to here and do this? But then it's logistically, how the hell do we? But it's not like it's. Look at the Jackie Potato guys on there. It's a completely different setup. It's what I spoke to Nick about. He goes, it's not as easy as putting a Jackie Potato in the oven, putting your sauce on top, and selling it for £12. It's a lot goes into what we do. It's not this magic, as I said to you, magic cabinet. It's not a magic cabinet that the food appears in. A lot of work goes into the background of it as well. And it's not just quick fix training. It's training people up over a long time and have the same goals and insights as you to create what you want to do, isn't it? Like the Spud Bro guys, they're sponsored Preston now. Do you know them guys? Spud
Yeah,
I've
Bros?
seen
yeah.
them. Yeah.
They're sponsored Preston. There's two brothers who do Jackie Potatoes in Preston on there, and they've created something unbelievable for what they've done. And people slag them, but fair play to them. Fair play. I mean, they're sponsored Preston football team now. That's
Crazy.
pretty massive, that is. But they've done it off. They've done it off what they've created for. So it's not just what they do in there. They've created the Soho one, but it is different because anybody can cook a Jackie potato, can't they? Yeah. Yeah, whack it in the oven, turn it on, take it out when it's done, cut it in half. You've got your sauces, you've got your seasonings that are pre-done and ready to go. We're relying on people to make the batter way we do. Our oil's got to be clean. Our products, our packaging, our everything. We've got to get the product in that what we want. So it's not as easy as doing something like that. That's where I think we're going to struggle to do unless we pick up the right team, which we're trying to create now. But them guys have. If we can get to anything with them level. But all that is because of the scope they've got. They've gone worldwide. That's why Preston picked them up, because they've got worldwide scope. And it's creating like a brand again. So it will just push Preston's credibility as well over throughout the world.
I must
It's clever. It's very clever. It's like learning a different business, and our problem is that we get stuck behind that range, and we that's what I mean. We focus solely on that. When
you get BRS.
we do,
What Bonico calls it, behind the range syndrome.
behind the range syndrome,
Yeah.
and we all do it. And that's where I think was different when, like last year when I sold the shop in Stourbridge and Hell's Home was rented out for a little bit. That's when we started progressing more because we had more time to focus on stuff. And Lucy was helping me out with the merchandise, and we got other stuff coming off it as well. But it takes a lot of time to get it right. And once you get it right, it's easy to get it wrong. That's the problem. You've got to be very careful then because you are in the limelight. That's why I haven't gone on it. I've gone on one video and I just got slated, so I just thought, fuck this, I'm doing it again.
Yeah, but you're not a pretty young girl, and you're a bit gruff as well. You're like, ugh, like, I don't want to do this.
I'm a bit grey, and yeah.
Also, you're
Some people might like that. Some people might like that.
You're a bit, yeah. I think there is. I think there's an element of that. Like, but you're probably a bit more worn down with life. You're like, oh, come up the arse with this.
Fucking hell, still, I ain't that bad.
No, but we all are. We're not the typical.
Fucking Charlie is. Look at him. He's got a full head of hair and everything. Look how relaxed he is.
Don't worry, that's going to be corrected soon.
Not a grey hair.
He's getting married, so
not a grey hair in sight. Jesus.
He's changing everything. He's getting married, so this time next year he'll be a different man.
Yeah. Married man saying that on here. This is here forever. You know that, yeah.
But here's a question. Looking at what we just said about the young girls and that situation with that guy, wages going up, does it make you wonder, do I carry on employing younger people? Is the risk too high? Or do you just have to have more safeguards?
You got no point, George. You employing young people because there's nobody out there old that wants to do the job.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I put a job out for a counter assistant recently, just on a local group. It was brilliant. We had 85 applications, but I'd say 80 of them were 16 to 18. They're just the people who apply. So we have to make our businesses work off of 16 to 18-year-olds, get the 18-year-olds to fry and the 16-year-olds to serve and clean. That's sort of how I have to do it now because, if we get someone, say, above the age of 25, one, they're like hen's teeth, but two, it's well, they just don't exist. They
don't exist. Now you're very lucky to find them, aren't you?
So you need to obviously have more safeguarding in place to some degree, then, wouldn't you?
They just don't be a dick. It's not fucking hard, is it?
Yeah.
Well, clearly it is hard.
No, there's morals about it, isn't there? Just don't be a dick. There's morals. How would you? I treat my staff the way I would. I always said it. I treat my staff the way I would want my kids' boss to treat them. Yeah. I've got my son Finn, who came to work with me yesterday for the first time. Fucking hell. And I've got my daughter Scarlett, who's like 12. Yeah. And I treat my staff the way I would expect my boss. And there's what's right and wrong. What's right and wrong. This guy touching you. Come on. He knows that's not right. There's only one outcome from that. It never stops. It always comes out and it does. So if you're going to play a game like that, you deserve the consequences as well. That's what I think anyway. I've got most of my staff in Bewdley who employ, like the youngsters, most of them have come to us are young girls they've left school now. They're going to college. This is what we do. So we'll pick up the college goers, like the sixth formers, and they'll be with us till they go to uni. Then when they come to uni, when they finish, come back to us in the summertime. That's what we do. So we've got a good bait staff, but they're all young girls, and they're all the girls are built differently. They're more prone to being on social media and being that. So you have got to look after them.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem we've got at the moment with staff is that we just can't get the adults.
They don't exist.
And even young lads, we mostly get girls apply as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
We really struggle for young lads at the minute. I've been looking for a couple of lads to do with potatoes and just struggling with it. So we moved to prep chips so that the girls could lift it. It was easy, and it solved a lot of problems. But I also think a problem with the people we're getting through as well is a couple of problems. One is that they've done no housework at home, nothing. It's really basic. We're having to teach them how to wash up, clean, sweep, mop.
Mopping.
Mopping's the bane of my life. But the other thing is none of them are leaders as such. No one wants to they wants to make the progression from a counter assistant to a fryer. They don't want to be in charge of anyone. Before, if you took on 5 youngsters, 2 of them would be sort of jostling for position
Yeah.
to run the shift. We don't find any of that now. I'm not finding any of
No,
that.
one in 20 now you go through and you find what half decent one, but they're happy doing what they're doing, aren't they?
Yeah.
They don't want they don't want the responsibility, do they? That's the thing, because it's not. A lot of them don't look at it as. I don't think a lot of them look at it as a career. That's the problem. It's there for and they're going to be there for the next 3-4 years, and they're going to go.
How do you get by anyone pretty much under 18? This is mostly where it's happening, where the parent all talk a good game, but then they're very quick to say we're going on holiday last minute, and the staff. How do you get past that?
You can't, can you? What can you do?
Totally on the parents. You can't. The problem I have as well is the staff will tell me, "Look, I'm going on holiday. My parents have booked it," and your immediate response is to get annoyed at the staff member. Well, what can they do?
No, you can't do
They're 16 years old and the parents have booked them 2 weeks in Turkey. What?
I tell my managers that as well because they lose their heads. I'm like, it's not their fault. You got to, they're 16-year-old kids that are going all day. But
I want to say, guys, that I run a business where this never happens to me. However, as Charlie knows, it just happened to me. So we've got. I foolishly helped my sister keep her son in a job over the summer while he's off uni, and she messages me the other day, just out of the blue. Oh, by the way, surprise! This is as a sister, by the way, not even as an employer message. I've booked the last minute holiday for Peter, and I'm like, oh, it says when? She goes, oh, this day. I said, oh, did you not think to ask his employer? That's me, yeah. And she's like, oh, I didn't think. Oh, but it'll be all right, won't it?
Yeah, and I bet if someone did that to your sister in her fish and chip shop, she'd lose her mind.
I said to her there and then, I said, how many times have you come to me and said this? You should know better. And she was like, just making all the excuses in the world. And again, and that's her. So she owns a fish and chip shop and gets this done to her probably 3 times a year. Right. So if they do it, it makes you wonder, it is a real big issue. But I think, I don't know, one part of me wonders is, do you, when you get these younger people to sign a contract, you keep it really easy and you just make it really clear like this, but then what you're going to do? Well,
the thing is, they're happy to quit. That's
yeah.
If you go
get another job, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to sack you because you're going to go on holiday. They go, okay, no problem.
I'll come back and get a job at wherever.
We really have.
But I wonder if that does get harder for them when it costs me the same to hire a 16-year-old than it does an 18-year-old. I wonder if I start to, when all these businesses start saying, you know what, we're going to be a lot more selective about who we're hiring. And another nephew of mine, he's been out of uni for 2 years and he's been going for job interviews for IT stuff. And literally, they're just saying to him, sorry, we're not hiring job after job. We're talking Marston's, Mitchells and Butler, big companies, and he's out of uni. They're literally, I think a lot of businesses aren't hiring like they used to. So I wonder if that changes some behaviours.
I think the thing is that in the next couple of years, there may be a lot more people unemployed and entering the job market. So we might have a slightly easier time for 18 months or so. But that's not the norm. So we can't get used to that. And that's what we need to be able to do. We need to be able to make our businesses run with young people. That's who we are reliant on. It's got to work because, all right, even if for the next 18 months there's a load of 30 to 50-year-olds flood the job market, they're not going to stay around. So there's no point really changing your teams and your ethos around those people because it's not sustainable.
No, that's right.
Yeah, it's a real tough one. It's a real tough one that is something that happens. But I guess the answer is you have more of them. And I guess that's, you give them all less shifts. McDonald's, again, I know I mentioned them, but if you're on a low hour contract for McDonald's, they'll literally give you as many hours as you want. But if you're on a low tier, you'll get 4 hours a week at most. So... and my nephew worked for Fish and Chicken and they were really good. They said, how many hours do you want? And they made sure. And every now and then they'd say, look, we need a bit of help, obviously like every chip shop, and he'd do it. You know, they're no different. They're not exempt from needing help. Everybody does. But he loved it. He said the 3 years. I think he worked there 3 years. You met Raphael, didn't you? And
Yeah.
he did act like he owned the place after, bless him. But yeah, he's but like, he really enjoyed it. He said it was a good employer for the time that he was there. So well done to those guys. You know.
I think we get lucky with, because we've got quite a young team, especially in Bewley, that they do mix together as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what they like, the social aspect of it as well for each of us. So what we do is, though, we'll have one employee. They say, "Oh, my friend needs a job," and then that's how we've got a few people like that. You got to be careful of that as well, because once a friend beats a dick, then you got to. That's how it works. But I think I've got the youngest staff base I've ever had done now this year.
A lot of people are saying that. Everyone I speak to says, and I'm the same. I've got one woman in her 50s, and then the rest are 17 to 22.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but it's worked better like that. I've had people.
No, I'm quite lucky that I've got like a good full-time base. I've got James and Chris. I mean, James and Chris, 21 years now they've been with me for. So my managers, they've been since I was 15. So they came. We've got Shannon, who's been with me for since I was Shannon. Shannon's 26 now. I think she's been with me since she was 16 as well. All good.
But if they decided tomorrow they were leaving, that's when the problems would start.
Yeah. But then it's like what with James, the manager, he's like, where am I going to go that I get? Because they get looked after for being so long. We're going to go and get that bed. So you have got to look after them in that respect as well. Like we do, we try and look after our staff. You have to. But you've got to have a limit where, because then you look after them, then they still shit on you sometimes. That's the problem. But then the ones that you've got, we have to look after. But we've been quite lucky with stuff in that respect as well. I've got a really good team. Like, obviously, they say you employ people better than you. I reckon now they'll run ring, like the James, he'll run ring around me in that respect. So not fine wise, but he's more organised, and it's his day in, day out job, you see. So do
you think it helps that if we look at Bewdley as an example, being a small town, like, you know, people, they'll know each other maybe. Does that help? Like,
they're that inbred. It's not like that.
It's not like Leicester.
I know.
Leave Nuneaton out of this.
It's a very small
well, yeah, I suppose the local school they come from. They go to, obviously they've got the high school there. It's Beauty's a bit different, though, isn't it? Because people travel from all around in the summertime. But what's population? 10,000 plus, probably. Maybe it's not like everybody else knows each other's business. It's not like that.
No, I didn't think like that, but if people are going to the pub next door, and the post office next door, or the co-op next door, and you all live sort of around there, and they're happy at work.
Well, Beauty's quite spread out. You've got a lot of housing estates all popping up around buying. You've got Kidderminster obviously down the road and Worcester, but it tends to be. We do get a lot of like the Black Country lot come down to Bewdley.
That's their holiday place.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because people flock towards water for some reason. So yeah, it works well.
Well, I was saying to Charlie that I felt like the best example of Bewdley is like it's what Matlock is to East Midlands. It's, you know, it's sort of a similar thing. Like, so yeah, it's but look, I think ultimately, I think you know, you need to keep staff good and happy, and it doesn't mean bending over backwards. Doesn't mean, you know, to the point where you're being mugged off. It just means you've got to find that happy medium. And, you know, I think some staff will take the piss and others will bend over backwards for you. And so I think you've just got to find that. And every now and then you're going to be out of balance, and that will happen. And I guess it's the path. Yeah. It's the path of the course, isn't it?
I think it comes down to, as well, like we were saying earlier, you've got to be more efficient than we've ever been. You've got to keep things so simple for people now. You know, you just got to. You can't. So,
a friend of mine was saying, with all these, like the Labour sort of like more NIC, the government, what they've been doing and what they're probably going to do for the next budget too. He said, really, what we need to do is every time they do something like this is make your business more resilient. And I think obviously, Charlie, you've just made a good example of that, because you said you couldn't find potato boys or whatever, so you've gone over to ready prep chips. You know, Anthony, you've made an example of where you've closed your shop more, and you know, you've not lost turnover, but you've kept the shop steady, and you're paying less gas and less electric and less wages. And I think there's an argument for this everywhere. How far can you go? I don't know. But I do think that every time the government set a new challenge, we probably have to make the business more efficient. And I know how, you know, where do you keep doing that? But there's probably room to move without even realising it. And you can't also be everything to everybody. You know, if you've got like, and this goes back to this expanding menu, if you've got a menu with fish and chip, pies, southern fried chicken, pizza, all these things, are you doing them all to the best of your ability? And
No,
I just don't know if you
No
can.
way you can expect your staff to. Whether
No.
you know,
that's right. Yeah,
as an owner,
that's
sometimes you'll perhaps, I can do this and I can do that, and you'll do it. But like, then you expect someone who's going to work for you for 12 months to be able to train all of them,
Yeah.
train them in everything, and then to get it right every time. Some of us have been doing it 15, 20 years and longer,
still getting
like, and still mess things up. If you've got someone for 2 years, I always think if you get a staff member, if you get them for 2 years, that's pretty good.
My niece worked at McDonald's. I think I told you this before, Charlie. She worked at McDonald's for nearly 2 years. And her only job for nearly 2 years, she did no other job. She did extra hours, but all she did was fill drinks. That's it. Yeah. Not because she's thick, she's smart. But what they do at McDonald's is they segment everybody pretty much. Everyone's got one job. And she's been working at Taco Bell while she's at Sheffield Uni. And she says it's pretty much the same thing. I don't know what she does there. It's not drinks, it's something else. She's got one job. And you think, that's pretty immense to have a business where all somebody's doing is putting patties on a bit of bread or squirting sauce on a burger. I'm sure it's more than that. But pretty much someone is only doing fries and someone is only doing nuggets and someone is only... Because that is how they turn the cog. All those cogs constantly moving. And then it's only like probably our industry to some degree where we expect everybody to know everything.
Yeah, our industry is labour intensive, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it is.
But how do we then that, I think the key thing now moving forward is how can you get more work out of someone per hour? And that probably means trimming down some things. Is a thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're not going to employ more.
No, well, you can't employ more staff because that's going to throw off your wage bills.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can perhaps lose a bit of margin and have less staff, but have some things perhaps pre-prepared, chips pre-prepared, tight grade or fresh fish. There's a few things you can do to do that, to simplify things. Maybe that's
exactly what we've done with a lot of tight grade fish as well. And we have that's why we did it for, because it is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Especially over COVID, because over COVID, when I realised that when we just sold our 6 to 8s, all we did was the one meal. You cut our menu right down. We did the one fish and chip meal and the one size fish. It was the best thing we ever did, and we should have kept to it. But people then we listened to the where's your large cod, where's a large cod, where's your large cod, because we went from a 6 to 8 to like a 9-10 ounce cod, a loin piece. So that's what we shouldn't have done. We should have kept to what we did, stick to our guns, and we should have kept the menu like it as well. Should have really trimmed. We did. Our menu's only small anyway.
So I don't know if you, Auntie, I don't know if you know Mark Drummond, but he's a chap who's got a shop in
yeah.
And he says to me, he goes, why do we listen to the 0.5%, the 1% at most that moan? He goes, many people will sell 4,000 pots of curry a week as an example, but only and listen to the 4 people that say, oh, it's a bit spicy or a bit bland or whatever the feedback is. Like,
right.
And they panic, oh my God, but they didn't listen to the other 3,990.
Because the other 3,900 don't say anything.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And but it's the same. Like, you think there's an outrage or something serious going on because 6 people on Twitter said it, and you think, well, actually, no one gives a crap. Like, I do think sometimes we should look at the numbers on the screen or the till rather than that 1 or 2 messages that you get or the one bad TripAdvisor review. And my friend, the person that I know that owns these McDonald's franchises, she goes, everyone thinks we don't get anyone complain about it. She goes, and she got a book out with like a folder out with loads of pages, and she like pulled like a stack of like 7 or 8 pages, and she goes, all these complaints are just the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And like, there's dedicated Facebook pages or groups to complaining about McDonald's and Greg's and all of this. So they do get complaints, but I just think that
do they respond back?
Well, I just think it's probably because, like you guys said, they're not at the thick end of the wedge. Some of the departments dealing with that, and whereas in a chip shop, the owner or the manager or someone there is relaying that information back in real time, And if you have a quiet day as well, so if somebody complains 2 weeks ago and it's a residential shop and it's quiet and it's hot, straight and you get a complaint that day, you're like, oh my God, you feel the weight of that. And you think, oh, it's quiet and this guy's just complained. And you think, what's going wrong? What shall I do? I'll give everyone a bigger piece of fish. I'll give everyone more chips. I can't go bankrupt. Like, yeah. And so, but whereas Greg's, it's like, oh, someone complained about their shitty sausage roll, hits a marketing department, and they just send them a £2 voucher. Like, it's nothing.
The McDonald's reply back to complaints?
Not that I've seen.
What does she say?
They deal with it there. Like if you go in and it's a valid complaint, they've got a complaint procedure, they've got a complaint book, they deal with it there and then. Like, but I thought you meant online. Sorry. Yeah, in person. Yeah, anything else, they'll give you a voucher, they give you a free meal, they replace it. Yeah, but I get, and she goes, we get piss takers all the time.
Yeah,
she goes, you'll get someone come up to you and say, my 9-piece nugget meal was cold and there's half a nugget left.
Yeah, well, we when we go to McDonald's very rarely, we play hot and cold. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So is it going to be fries? Are they going to be hot or cold? Because there's no.
You see, we take the boys a fair bit because they do enjoy McDonald's, and we've got a couple near us. And I must admit, like I've not been eating it because I've been trying to be really careful lately. And the other day, I was just pouring their fries in the other end of the burger tray. They were roasting. They were like fire. They'd just come out.
Yeah,
and usually you'd walk to the car and it'd be cold. Like
that's what I mean. So that's you play hot or cold.
Yeah. So and I guess most of the time it was mediocre. Like mediocre to cold. But I must admit everything was really hot. Like and I think they have done better in that respect. I think. But that's not all of them. That's one. But I'll tell you what was really weird. I think I've said it on the podcast, but I went to a McDonald's in London. And when was it? It was like, I can't remember. It must be about February time, I think, for Nicholas's birthday. And we're going to this McDonald's. I go in and I get the app out, go straight downstairs, find a chair, which is what I do, for table and chair. And I noticed that there's no numbers on the table, but I thought, you know what? I'll carry on. I'll try order it. So I put the order in. And I go upstairs. I say to the guy, I've just put an order in, but it's not working. I looked around for a second. There was no screens, no digital screens, no nothing. I look, the guy goes to me, laughed, and he goes, this happens all the time. Don't worry, sir. He goes, just show us your order. I show him the order. He goes, you've put an order in at another McDonald's. He goes, we don't have any technology. He goes, we're the 2 McDonald's left in the UK without any future technology. And honestly, I couldn't be asked to customize anything because I thought at this point, you only do it when you got a screen in front of you. When you just go there normally and talk to a human, you don't want to look like a twat. So you just say, can I have a Big Mac and can I have a quarter pounder? And that's it. You don't want them to see your quirks now. And all the food was like I was a kid. It was awesome. It was just like, it took me back to like 1995. Like, sorry, Charlie, you weren't born then, were you? But
95 was when I was born.
So I was just like, whoa! Like, and it was hot. It was just bang on. And you know what I thought to myself? Have we complicated life? We've got all these click and collects, digital screens. What happens to just walking in and saying, can I have 3 cod and chips and peas, please? Like,
yeah, and it's almost like customers don't want it. They get fed up of how slow service has gone because they've made everything us trying to please them by giving all the customization and things has just slowed everything down. And then they moan about slow service. So it's like rock and hard place with it sometimes.
Yeah, I think, you know what? There is nothing faster than the traditional way of frying fish and chips and ordering fish and chips. No, just takeaway. You just walk in, can have 3 fish and chips, and the order's flowing. You've got, it's a Friday night, the orders are shifting. You're so like you said earlier, Anthony, you're frying in advance, but it's going. We never really had to ask the queue what they were having. We knew it was regular haddock back then or regular cod. It was one of the two. Like on a Friday, Thursday.
Yeah, that's keeping it simple, isn't it? Yeah, that's exactly but that's what I mean. So like with the staff base as well, you've got to keep it simple, haven't you? That's what we've done because it's easier for our staff. It's like Charlie said, you can't overcomplicate meals and this and that because they're going to fuck it up anyway. And you're going to get complaints by. Then you're relying on it properly. Then you keep an eye on it. Then you take a. That's why I hate like kebabs because you guarantee, right, that the sauce is going to be wrong or wrong meat in or let's just keep it simple now. That's what I think we should be doing.
Another one of Mark Drummond's sayings. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, he always he must tell me that every day. Like,
yeah, he's only got about 8 things on his menu.
Well, the lads that came on the podcast, Aman and Gavin Desi, their menu was smaller than his. Like, yeah, like they had hardly anything on the menu, to the point where they probably don't even need a menu. Like, it's
People don't look at it anyway. So
no, they just walk in there, can have 2 regular spirits. Oh, great, here you go. And like, and they were busy one day when I was there, and it was just serve, 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 and like it was just so simple. What was going in? Fish. What was coming out? Chips. What was it? A side, or maybe a battered sausage, jumbo sausage, bits and bobs. And there was a lot to be said for that. And I think they probably had like 8 menu items. What's that? 30 variations. It's just like, whereas the average shop in the Midlands or Scotland or Wales, Liverpool, like you go to Liverpool, they've got a whole Chinese menu sitting alongside the fish and chip menu. Not all parts of Liverpool, but many. So yeah, I was in a shop in the Wirral. Listener that listens to this is a really good guy, and he had a wok in the back, a whole wok station. Like, and he goes, we don't use it as much as we used to, but he goes, it comes in really handy. And so yeah, I think that. But then you say to people like that in Liverpool, "Oh, keep your menu simple." They say it's simple. I only do fish and chips and Chinese food. What are you on about? So yeah, I went to a shop in Edinburgh once, and a guy comes in and he ordered fish and chips, a packet of Rizzlers, toilet roll, a can of dog food, and chicken wings. And I was like, wow. And I made a joke. It was a really badly timed joke. And I said, there's a toilet roll in case he doesn't make it home after eating the chicken wings. The guy wasn't happy about the joke. I think he did move on to our batter after that joke. But it was really odd. And he said it's because, like, traditionally, they were ethnics. They thought, how can we beat the competition? Let's stock more items. Let's show them that we can have a bit of this and have a bit of that, have a wider range. I've been to shops in Scotland where they do pasta dishes because they're Italian. So everyone uses what comes to their, but how long do you do it for? How long before you say, you know what, I'm killing myself here doing 17 different.
Yeah, try and train somebody else to do that as well.
Yeah. Well, and they had like one shop I went to had this pizza specialist. He knew everything about pizza. He was mixing it until it got to a certain temperature. Like, he knew everything about pizza. This guy, they brought him over from Italy. And he's working in this shop in Glasgow, there wasn't anything he didn't know about making pizza. That guy.
That's great until he needs a week off.
Yeah, that's great until he needs a week off, isn't it? Yeah, because now who knows what he knows? Nobody. So, but yeah, guys, have we missed anything, guys?
Covered a lot of ground there, I'd say.
Yeah, and. I think we've done a lot there, and it'd be great to have you both on again in the future. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but it will. And but yeah, thanks for your time, guys. And
brilliant. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, nice meeting you, Charlie.
Yeah, and you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode with Charlie and Anthony, 2 operators with plenty of insight and plenty of honesty. Big thanks to our sponsor, Ceres Deep Fryer Cleaner. Non-caustic, powerful, and made for shops like yours. Fries you can be proud of. Start with a cleaner that does the job right and get yours today at ceres.shop. Join the conversation in the Ceres Podcast Facebook group. We'd love to hear what you're thinking about this episode. And don't forget, our business suite of calculators are free, fast, and trusted by fish and chip shops across the UK.